He sobs in court, says he's really sorry for the role he played.
I just want to say to the family and the victims, I'm deeply sorry for the role I played in your loved one's death. I'm deeply sorry to the victims for bringing this pain and trauma upon you.
Then the judge drops the sentence. 25 years.
The court will adjudicate you guilty, will sentence you to 25 years in the Florida Department of Corrections with all credit.
Christopher Horne Jr. buries his face in his hands. His shoulders shake. His mother in the gallery covers her mouth. For 1 second, it looks like remorse. For 1 second, you almost feel something. Then you remember the night of March 17th, 2024. A 15-year-old girl named Kayla Rincon Miller walking to a McDonald's after watching a movie. A gunshot to the chest at close range. A body left on the pavement. And Christopher Horne Jr. right there in the middle of it all, not pulling the trigger, but making sure the trigger got pulled anyway. I'm your host, and this is Crime X. Today, we break down the courtroom drama that sent a teenager to prison for a quarter of a century. But first, if you are tired of watching true crime videos that leave you with nothing but a sad feeling and no real answers, hit that subscribe button right now. Crime X gives you the full breakdown, the actual testimony, the moments that matter. Subscribe. Do it, because the next case we cover will be even bigger, and you don't want to miss it. Now let's get into the Christopher Horne Jr. case. February 20th, 2026. Fort Myers, Florida. The courtroom is packed. On one side, the family of Kayla Rincon Miller, wearing white ribbons, holding each other's hands. On the other side, Christopher Horne Jr., now 18 years old, but still carrying the face of the 16-year-old who helped end a girl's life. He is not the shooter. That's what his lawyer keeps telling the jury. He is just a kid who made a terrible mistake. But the prosecutor has a different word for it. Accomplice. And in the state of Florida, that word carries the same weight as murderer. The charge is second-degree murder. The plea deal is already signed. Horne agreed to testify against the real shooter, Thomas Stein, in exchange for a capped sentence of 25 years. No life sentence. No death penalty. Just 2.5 decades. But here is the catch. The deal required him to tell the truth. The whole truth. And on May 1st, 2026, just weeks before his own sentencing, Horne took the stand at Stein's trial. He pointed across the courtroom and said, Thomas Stein pulled the trigger. He said Stein asked him, "Want to see something funny?" Then Stein got out of the SUV with a gun. Then Kayla was on the ground. That testimony sent Stein to prison for life. And it sealed Horne's own fate. Because once you admit you were there, once you admit you heard the plan, once you admit you did nothing to stop it, you are no longer a bystander. You are a killer. Now the sentencing day arrives. May 19th, 2026. Judge Nicholas Thompson sits behind the bench. The room is so quiet you can hear the air conditioning hum. Horne stands in his orange jumpsuit. His lawyer speaks first. She talks about his difficult childhood. She talks about peer pressure, gang influence, a boy who made a terrible choice. Then the prosecutor stands up, and she reads the words that will change everything. She plays a recording of Horne's own interrogation. You can hear his voice calm, almost bored, describing how he watched Stein raise the gun. And then Christine Wright steps forward. She is the mother of Emma Wright, one of the survivors. She stands at the microphone and delivers a statement that makes hardened deputies look away. Christine Wright, mother of survivor Emma Wright, does not shout. She does not need to. Her voice carries the kind of quiet that forces everyone to lean in. She tells the court that her daughter has not felt safe since March 17th, 2024. Emma cannot ride her bike around the neighborhood anymore. Something she used to do every single day. She cannot walk to a friend's house without permission. For months after the shooting, Christine controlled every detail. Who Emma was with, where they were going, who was driving. Simple freedoms that most teenagers take for granted disappeared overnight. It took more than 2 years before Emma could even step back into the marquee movie theater. The same theater where the night started with a Bob Marley film and ended with a murder. Christine says she and Emma just recently went back to see a Billie Eilish movie. That was a week and a half before the sentencing. She mentions Emma's friend Luann, who had known Kayla since elementary school. Luann has struggled too. Both girls have been bullied and harassed on social media, forced to defend themselves against strangers who were not there. Christine asks the judge to recognize one thing. The emotional and psychological damage is not temporary. It is permanent. We will live with this memory forever, she says.
My name is Christine Wright. I am the mother of Emma Wright. And was Emma Wright one of the victims in this case?
Yes, she was.
Have you prepared a statement you'd like to read to the court?
Yes, I have.
You may go ahead.
Thank you. Your Honor, the lives of 3 families changed forever the night of March 17th, 2024, when our daughters went to the movies to watch Bob Marley's One Love. Excuse me. What should have been a fun night for these girls became a nightmare that none of us will ever forget. After leaving the theater, the girls were walking to McDonald's when they were attacked at gunpoint. During the attack, Kayla was shot and later died. Since that night, our lives have never been the same. My daughter lost not only her sense of safety, but also a part of herself. In the aftermath, she was no longer allowed to go out unless I approved who she was going with, where they were going, and who was driving. She could not ride her bike or walk around our neighborhood, something that she enjoyed and did regularly. Simple freedoms that most young people take for granted disappeared overnight. It was months before I let her have more freedom to go out with her friends. For more than 2 years, she could not even bring herself to return to the Marquee movie theater because the memories were just too painful. She and I just recently went to see Billie Eilish's movie at that theater not over a week and a half ago. This crime has changed my daughter. She has struggled with the direction of her life and is dealing with the trauma of what happened to her. I also watched her friend Luann struggle with the aftermath.
Last time I'm going to warn you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. I also watched her friend Luann struggle with the aftermath of that night. She had known Kayla since elementary school, and what happened hit her hard. She lost a longtime friend that evening. Both girls have had to deal with all the speculation as to what happened that night and were bullied and harassed on social media. What happened that night was not temporary. The emotional and psychological damage continues to this day, and my daughter, all of us, will live with this memory of that night forever. We ask the court to recognize the lasting impact that this crime has had on our lives and the lifelong pain it has caused. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Then Luann DeJay herself steps forward. She is the one who was walking next to Kayla when the gun went off. She looks directly at Christopher Horne Jr. She says, "They wanted our money, but the only thing they took was her life." That single sentence lands like a punch. Because it is true. The robbery yielded nothing. Kayla Rincon Miller died for absolutely nothing. Luann describes the moment Kayla whispered, "I just got shot." She describes trying to stop the bleeding. She describes watching her best friend collapse on a sidewalk while 2 armed teenagers ran back to an SUV and disappeared into the night. The courtroom is completely still. Now Christopher Horne Jr. stands to speak. He has been crying. His face is red. He says, "I am not a monster. I feel like the demons I fought as a child played a part and impacted my future." He says he is deeply sorry for the role he played. He apologizes to the families. But he does not say, "I killed her." He does not say, "I should have stopped it." He says, "I cannot take responsibility for something I did not do." And there it is. The same deflection he has used since day one. The same refusal to own what he actually did. He did not pull the trigger. But he was there. He heard Stein ask, "Want to see something funny?" He watched Stein raise the gun. He ran away. And now, standing before a judge, he sobs but still separates himself from the act. The family does not react. They have heard enough. Judge Nicholas Thompson looks down at Horne. He acknowledges the plea deal. He acknowledges Horne's cooperation against Thomas Stein. Then he prepares to speak the words that will send an 18-year-old to prison for 25 years. But before he does, something strange happens in the gallery. Several people in the gallery are caught reading a piece of paper. Then someone laughs. Not a nervous cough. Not a muffled sob. A laugh. Judge Nicholas Thompson stops speaking. He looks up from his bench and scans the room. His voice is calm but firm. He warns the group that any outbursts or disruptions will not be tolerated. This is a sentencing hearing for a murdered 15-year-old girl. The family of Kayla Rincon Miller is sitting just a few feet away. The courtroom goes silent again. No one laughs a second time. The judge turns back to Christopher Horne Jr. He acknowledges the plea agreement. Under Florida law, Horne faced a minimum guideline sentence of nearly 27 years for second-degree murder. But the state offered him a deal. Cooperate fully. Testify truthfully against the shooter, Thomas Stein. In exchange, the state would cap his sentence at 25 years. Horne took the deal. He testified on May 1, 2026 at Stein's trial. He pointed at Stein and said he pulled the trigger. He admitted he was in the car. He admitted he heard Stein say, "Want to see something funny?" He admitted he watched Stein raise the AR-15 style rifle. That testimony helped convict Stein of felony murder. Stein now faces life in prison, and Horne kept his end of the bargain. Judge Thompson accepts the agreement. He sentences Christopher Horne Jr. to 25 years in the Florida Department of Corrections for second-degree murder. On the 3 attempted robbery counts, he sentences him to 15 years each. Those sentences will run at the same time as the murder sentence, not stacked on top. Then the judge adds a condition. No contact. Horne is forbidden from ever contacting the survivors or the families of the victims. No letters. No messages. No third-party communication. That door is closed permanently. But there is one more detail. Because Horne was 16 years old when Kayla was killed, the law requires a review of his sentence after 15 years. That means when Horne is 33 years old, a judge will look at his case again. His behavior in prison. His remorse. His rehabilitation. And that judge will decide if he should be released. If the answer is no, he serves the full 25 years. He will be 43 years old. The judge also gives him credit for time served. Approximately 2 years. That covers the period from his arrest in April 2024 to this sentencing day in May 2026. It does not change the length of the sentence. It simply means the clock started ticking the day he was handcuffed. Horne does not speak again. His shoulders are still shaking. His mother, seated in the gallery, covers her face with both hands. A bailiff steps forward and places a hand on Horne's arm. It is time to go. As he is led out of the courtroom, he does not look back at the family. He does not look at his mother. He stares straight ahead at the door that leads to the holding cells. Behind him, Luann DJ exhales. Christine Wright closes her eyes. Kayla Rincon Miller's family holds on to each other. 25 years. That is what the system gave them. And that is what Christopher Horne Jr. will now serve. The courtroom empties slowly. The Rincon Miller family gathers in a small circle near the exit. Someone is crying. Someone else is just staring at the floor. There is no celebration here. There is only the quiet exhaustion of people who have waited more than 2 years for a number. 25 years. It is not Kayla's life. Nothing will ever be Kayla's life. But it is something. Outside the courthouse, the Florida sun is blinding. Reporters crowd the steps. Cameras roll. A spokesperson for the state attorney's office reads a brief statement. They say justice was served. They thank the jury, the witnesses, and the detectives who worked the case. They do not mention Christopher Horne Jr. by name. They do not have to. His name is already in every headline. Across town, Thomas Stein sits in a different jail cell. He was convicted of felony murder on May 4, 2026. His sentencing is scheduled for July 10th. The man who pulled the trigger has not yet heard his own number. But everyone knows what it will be. Life. Possibly with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Possibly without. The judge has options. What is certain is that Stein will not walk free while he is still young. What is certain is that 2 teenagers, one who pulled the trigger and one who watched, will spend the rest of their youth behind bars. Christopher Horne Jr. is now inmate number 2498871. He will process into the reception center in the next 72 hours. From there, he will be assigned to a correctional facility somewhere in Florida. He will trade his orange jumpsuit for a prison uniform. He will learn a new routine. Counts. Meals. Lockdown. Visitation through glass. He was 18 years old on the day of his sentencing. He will be 43 the first time he has a real chance to leave. Assuming the review board says yes. Assuming he behaves. Assuming he does not become someone else inside those walls. Kayla Rincon Miller will never be 43. She will be 15 forever. That is the imbalance at the heart of every murder case. No sentence is equal. No number balances the scale. But the family knows that. They have known it since March 17, 2024. They still showed up. They still spoke. They still asked the court to remember that their daughter existed. That is all any family can do. And that is where we leave Christopher Horne Jr. Cooperated. Confessed. Apologized. Sentenced. None of it brought her back. Before you close this video, I need to talk to you straight. Our last video got over 100 views and exactly 0 subscribers. 0. That means 100 people watched, and not one person hit the button. That is a problem. If you want Crimex to keep covering cases like this, if you want the real testimony, the actual courtroom moments, the facts without the fluff, then you need to subscribe right now. Do not watch and walk away. Do not be the 101st person who says nothing. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell. Share this video with one person who needs to understand what justice looks like when it actually happens. We are going to cover the Thomas Stein sentencing on July 10th. That is the shooter. That is the man who pulled the trigger. You do not want to miss that day in court. I will see you there. This is Crimex. Stay aware. Stay alive.